Funky. This broke something.
Yeah.
You're like,
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
you just give a recap of the last.
Huh? Yeah, go ahead.
No, listen, give a recap.
Just a small recap. In the last sutra, we saw the obstacles, and we saw that how those 9 obstacles, they lead to a state which is called chitta vikshep, that is distracting the chitta, the attention, the mind, the consciousness from the path of yoga. Now, in this, he's going to tell us about the accompaniments to the obstacles. So we'll just go through the sutra first and then go ahead from there.
This is Pad 1, Sutra 31. Dukh. Dukh daur manasyangame jayatva shvasa prashvasa vikshep sahabhuvaha, which can be split as, and I'll also share my screen so everyone can see the text of this. If I split it into different words, it goes like Dukkha daur manasya angam ejayatva shvasa prashvasa vikshepa saha bhuva. The normal translation of this is pain, depression, and the agitation of the body and breath, which is inhalation and exhalation, accompany these disturbances. Tavariaji translates this as pain, despair, misplaced bodily activity, and wrong direction or control of the life currents are the results of the obstacles in the lower psychic nature.
Now we'll just recap a little. In Sutra 14, the Rishi had said that abhyas has to be done over a long period of time. Satu dirgha kalena nairantarye satkara asevitu drad bhubi. So he used the word there nairantarye, without any intermission. Then in Sutra 30, the previous one which we did last time, he says, which are these intervals which bring about intervals in our abhyas, right? So he names 9 intervals which can come in our abhyas, and we saw them last time. Now, how do we know that we are in an interval? What tells us that we are in an interval? So now he's going to give the symptoms, and these symptoms are common to all 9. So the last word used in this, sutra is sahabhuva. So these are accompaniments. Saha, they come along with these 9. Now, we can say in a different way that we are making this effort towards Ishwar Pranidhana, which we saw in Sutra 23. And now he's telling us the obstacles, or that which brings an interval and throws our attention away from the path, takes our mind away from the path, and he mentioned 9. Now, to know that we are in one of these or in all of them, he says these are the accompaniments. Which are the accompaniments? He says the first is dukkha, pain, suffering. right? So if there is pain or suffering, then has it taken us away from the path of yoga? Has it led to a state called chitta vikshep? Shipt means to throw. Vikshep, to throw in a special way away from the path of yoga. So we are thrown away from the path of yoga. So the pain and suffering which has come in my life, has it taken me away from the path of yoga? So the first is pain. The second is dormanasya. Dormanasya can normally be translated as bad mind, right? Bad mind. We'll go into this. And I may be in a negative mood. Something may have given me a shock, or I may have got some information or something, and something has put me in a negative mood, and has that negative mood taken me away from the path of yoga? Angam e jayatva. Angam, is there restlessness in the limbs of my body? And when there's restlessness in the limbs of my body, it definitely speaks of some deeper condition inside. So he's saying, is there restlessness in the limbs of the body? And in my shwas prashwasa, breathing in and breathing out. We'll take the normal translation now. Breathing in and breathing out. Are there obstacles? Are there jerks? Is my breathing chaotic, right? Or is my breathing too heavy? Is my breathing too full of moisture? Is it too hot? Then it speaks that there is some condition inside. I'm not in harmony within myself. I'm not in rhythm and balance within myself. So he says, these are the accompaniments. The fact that I am in an antara, I am in an interval, that my attention has been thrown away from the path of the yoga, is either I know it through that I'm in pain, either I know that I'm in a negative mood, either I know I'm restless, or I know my breathing is disturbed. These are the four ways, the four symptoms of those 9 antaras, those 9 intervals, those 9 obstacles which we saw in the previous sutra. They are observed through these 4 different symptoms. And of course, we know that Tavariaji Sahib has given us the 3-step rhythmic breathing. And the more we practice 3-step rhythmic breathing, our breathing, as it comes into rhythm and balance, it does not get chaotic, it does not get upset. Very easily are we able to bring our attention back to the path of yoga, right? So it is these symptoms are like the smoke which tells us of the fire inside, that our mind has been distracted, our attention is fragmented, and we are not on the path of yoga. The word he uses here is sa-abhuvaha, that is, they exist with the intervals. So with the minute we are in one of these intervals, these symptoms will start showing within ourselves. We will observe these symptoms. We will try to work with these symptoms, again come back to the path of yoga. So in the last sutra, he said that these 9 intervals lead to a condition called chitta vikshepa. That is, vikshep we saw, to throw out, to throw away, to scatter all around. So our attention is now scattered all over the place. It has been thrown away from the path of yoga. And it could be anything. It could be a marriage in the home, so our attention is in so many things, right? Or guests are coming, our attention on so many things, right? Our son is not doing the homework, our attention is on so many things. So these small things bring an interval on the path of yoga. So they take the mind off the path of Ishvara, they disturb us, and they bring disruptions in the chitta, in the attention. So this word vikshep we saw comes from the root ship, to throw out. Now, supposing we take the mind as a elastic substance, a subtle elastic substance, something which cannot be seen with the five senses. And we have seen that when an impression comes in, the mind divides itself into two parts, the seeing part and the part which takes the shape of the impression. Now, if at that moment the impression is of being negative, and the mind takes the shape of that negativity, it is now coloring the impression which came in with that negativity. And then that impression passes away and the next impression comes in. But the mind, which is elastic, must again come back to its normal, state. It remains in that negative state. So the next impression which comes in is again, colored by that negative state. And over a period of time, we become fixed in our attitudes, fixed in our ideas, fixed in our habits, and the mind loses its adaptive capacity. It loses its elasticity, just as the small cells in our lungs lose their elasticity as we grow up, right? So there must be an effort to regenerate the mind every day, to bring the mind back to its original state every day, to increase the elasticity of the mind every day. And in the last talk, we saw that, holding the mind in states of silence brings the mind back to its original shape. So we just go through the symptoms again: dukkha or pain, depression, the depression, that is dormanasya, agitation of the body, and the inhalation and exhalation of breath. Now, what is dukkha? What is pain? Of course, we are here reminded of the Four Noble Truths of the Lord Buddha, where he says there is pain, there is a cause of pain, the cause can be known and removed, and when the cause is known and removed, pain which is yet to come, pain which is to come in the future, cannot come, right? So these are the Four Noble Truths of Buddha. And Patanjali also mentions the same truths, but here he's talking of something called chitta vikshepa. And as a seeker on the path, we have to understand what he's trying to indicate to us over here. So any pain, anything obstacle in life which we are trying to avoid is dukkha, is pain. And this brings about a very basic attitude in our life, in our way of living, that we are always running away from pain. This is the story of our life. What is the story of our life? That we are always running away from those incidents, those obstacles, those events, those people that can bring pain in our lives, right? Now the word dukkha, it comes from the root khan, to excavate. Cough syrup no pouch se jode andar. Dushtam khanati. Dushtam means something that is spoiled. Something that is spoiled may be deep inside of us. And it's excavated, it comes to the surface. So we may have something some bad cells inside, right? But they come to the surface as a boil, and that boil brings pain or suffering, right? So dushtam, something is spoiled inside. Khanati, it is excavated outside, brought outside, right? So this is the meaning, the deeper meaning of the word dukkha. The verb here is khanati, means to bring it out, to excavate it. So whenever there is pain in the body, there means something is wrong somewhere, and the body brings it out, and that is why we feel the pain. It is indicating to us, telling us that something is spoiled inside, and it has excavated this outside for us to see as a symptom. This is dukkha. Now, this is the meaning of the word dukkha, but there are other scholars who give another meaning also to the word dukkha, and they derive it from dush-kha. Dukkha, dush-kha. Kha meaning akash, kha meaning space, bad space, to be in a bad space. So in Sanskrit, su will be good and du will be bad. And kha meaning akash, to be in a bad space, to be in a bad akash. Now, there are three types of inner space, just as there's space outside. The space outside is the screen of life. The first inner space is what we call as bhut akash. In this space, we feel the sensations of life. We feel the tanmatras of the five, what do you call, tattvas, the five elements. It is called as bhut akash. The deeper space is called as chit akash. And in this space, everything that is happening to us psychologically, right? It is happening in that space. So supposing I'm in a state of self-observation, I'm observing the chit akash. What is happening in my chitta, in my mind every moment, right? So I get a sensation of pleasure, and I see how I'm immediately attracted by that sensation of pleasure, how there's a likeness for that sensation of a pleasure, how I want that sensation of pleasure to continue. So on the bhut akash, there is a sensation of pleasure. On the chit akash, all this is going on and I'm observing it. Now, beyond the chit akash is something called chid akash. Chid akash is where there is just the observer and the three forces of life, right? He's observing how the dance of the three forces is creating the chit akash, and how through the chit akash there is experience of the bhut akash. So there are three inner spaces, and as the student practices his self-observation, he first observes the sensations at the bhut akash without trying to judge them. Then he sees how they are judged inside, reacted to inside at the chit akash. And one day, everything personal in life goes away, and he sees only the dance of the three forces. So, many scholars say that dukkha means bad akash, du akash, right? And they say, is our attention relaxed in the inner space? Or is our attention angam e jayatva? Is our attention restless in the inner space? Where is our attention? Is it relaxed in the inner space? Or is it, what do you call, at peace in the inner space? I think many of you may have heard the story of that very rich man who was roaming around on the seashore, and he comes across a fisherman and he says, and the fisherman is smoking his pipe and sitting and just enjoying the scene of the sea. So the rich man asks him, what are you doing? So he says, I'm just sitting and enjoying. He says, why aren't you catching fish? He says, but I've caught my fish for today. He said, then you should go out again and catch more fish. He says, why do I want to catch more fish? He says, when you catch more fish, you can have another boat. And so why do I want to have another boat? Then you can have many boats. And he says, after you've had many boats, what will you do? You can sit and enjoy. He says, what do you think I'm doing now? Right? So the thing is that is our attention, whatever is there in the outer space, whether it is one boat, no boat, or many boats, right? Is our attention relaxed in the inner space? So they says, if the attention is relaxed in the inner space, it is sukha, right akash, good akash. And if it is not relaxed in the inner space, it is dukkha, it is bad akash. So sukha and dukkha are not something from outside. It is something whether we have harmony inside within our inner space. Now here we can understand that whenever there is pain in our lives, what do we attribute it to? What do we attribute it to? We always try to look for the cause of pain outside. We are always looking for the cause of pain outside. And as long as we are looking for the cause of pain outside, we cannot walk on the spiritual path. Then somebody else is at fault, or some event in life is at fault, and we are already identified with that. So pain is experienced internally, but the cause is always looked for outside. Now, to take on the experience of pain, the mind modifies itself to give us that experience of pain from the sensation, from the inner sensation or the impression, right? Can we stop that modification of the mind? Can we pause that modification of the mind? And here is where Patanjali differs a little from everyone else. He's saying that modification which is caused by the sensation of pain, it leads to a state called chitta vikshep. Can you hold that, not allow the chitta to get distracted? Can you hold it, not allow the chitta to get fragmented? Can you hold the attention, not allow it to get, what you call, go all over the place? So that's just to understand this a little more deeply. Let us make two words, and we'll just give meaning. It is our own meaning. Pain and suffering. Pain and suffering, right? So I feel the pain. There is a sensation of pain, right? Supposing my son is not studying for the exam, there is a sensation of pain. If somebody insults me, there is a sensation of pain, right? If I burn my finger, there is a sensation of pain. I feel the pain. But I can only suffer the pain if the mind modifies into the shape of that pain. Now, if I hold the mind, if I pause the mind, I don't allow the mind. So I feel the pain. I'm not a dead person in life, right? I feel the pain. I don't allow myself to suffer the pain. Why? How do I not allow myself to suffer the pain? Because I don't allow the pain to cause the symptom of chitta vikshepa. And here is where our practice of yoga comes in. And so I feel the pain, but I don't allow my mind to be disturbed by the impression of pain. So there is pain, but there is no symptom of chitta vikshepa, right? So, and pain comes in everyone's lives, but can we pause the mind? Now, what would it mean, pausing the mind? What would it... The first thing is that I don't allow myself to get disturbed, right? I remain in the present moment. The minute I say that, oh, if this, supposing somebody close to me has fallen ill, right? And I just hold the sensation of pain of the illness, but I don't start judging it. The minute I start judging it, then I move from the present moment. Then my mind is getting scattered. My mind is going to chitta vikshepa. So I remain in the present moment, and I don't say that, oh, if he had taken medicine at the proper time, he would have not fallen ill, right? Or I don't say that he's a very careless person, he doesn't look after his health, or anything that takes me away from the present moment, anything that starts a chain of thought, because all thought is memory. So anything that starts a chain of thought, I don't go into that. I hold the pain in the present moment. There is the sensation of pain. There is not the suffering of pain. I don't know if I'm coming across in this, right? And this is very important for a seeker. So I don't go on a thinking trip. I don't go on an imaginary trip. If this had happened, that, if only this had happened. I don't attribute the cause of pain to some external factor. Oh, this person came to meet me and she gave me the flu or whatever. I don't attribute it to some external factor, right? Or I say, you did this to me. Because the minute my mind moves away from the present moment, there is the sensation of pain and there is now the suffering of pain. I've moved into chitta vikshepa. So here Patanjali is giving us a very good, what do you call, message over here. He's giving a very wonderful indication that, what do you call, the sensations of pain come in at different levels, at the physical level, at the psychic level. But if we do not allow the mind to move into chitta vikshepa, we don't suffer that pain. Now, supposing we were able to hold our mind in the present moment, and we are just watching what happens, we are not allowing ourselves to drift away from the pain, then there is a possibility in that clarity of the present moment, we see the cause of pain. And till now, the cause was outside, right? Somebody insulted me, of course, the cause is outside. But then we see the deeper cause inside, that when did I sow the seeds of pain? In what form did I sow the seeds of pain? And we must understand negative emotions are all seeds of inviting pain, right? So when did I sow those seeds which invited pain? What did I do? And suddenly that will become clear to me in my self-observation. I will look in myself, what is it in my ego? What is it that makes me keeping on sowing seeds of negativity, getting angry with someone, being rude with someone, being upset with someone, right? Why do I keep on sowing these negative seeds which are going to invite suffering in the future? So in that one moment when we are not drifting away into chitta vikshepa, the chitta is clear, the chitta is in the present moment, and it may reveal the cause of pain. And the cause of pain is the seeds that have been sown previously. And in this moment, I realize that by not sowing a seed, by not allowing myself to suffer, if I suffer, I sow a new seed for future pain. So the minute I don't allow myself to suffer, I am getting free from the pain which is going to come in the future, right? So Buddha says that if you know the root, you get rid of the root, then the pain which is yet to come, which is going to come tomorrow, can be avoided. Now, a question which could come up over here is that, do we help people who are in pain? Do we help people who are suffering? And why should we help people who are suffering? Now, there are so many points over here which we must consider. That by helping this person, if I help this person to be free of his pain, to come out of this pain, will that person then in his life move to the path of yoga? Can you see? Or is he going to live the same mechanical life? Can you understand what I'm trying to say over here? Now, if he is going to live the same mechanical life, then I have to ask myself a question, whether the shock of further pain could wake him up from his mechanicalness and throw him to the path of yoga. Then whether I have done the right thing by freeing him from pain or done the wrong thing, that is something for me to decide. I'm leaving it to you. I'm just opening up different possibilities for you. Right? I want to give you an example, which is a true life example. My first camp which I attended of Osho was in 1974 January, and it was in Mount Abu. And it was a 10-day meditation camp. And there was one lady who was very close to Osho. And she, after the camp, she had a group of people who had come to meet her in a room. And she was celebrating the camp by opening a bottle of whiskey. So by the time I reached her room, I think she must have had 5 to 6 pegs of whiskey. And she was in this beautiful state. And she was telling everybody that how she suffered from cancer in 1968 or 1970, and how Osho put his hand on her and cured her of the cancer, and she was showing the x-rays of when she had cancer, and she was showing the x-rays of after the cure of cancer, which of course was very miraculous, or whatever it was. And at that time, there was a very famous, I was only 17 years old, so I was just sitting there and observing everything. And there was a very famous, movie director who was in the room next door. And he came into the room and he's telling her that he saved you from cancer. He didn't save you from cancer for you to drink whiskey. Can you understand what I'm trying to say, right? So we may help a person to be free of suffering. We may help a person to come out of suffering. But after that person comes out of suffering, what is he going to do? Is it going to wake him up? Is the suffering given him a proper shock in life? Is it going to wake him up and take him on the path of yoga? Then maybe we have done the right thing. But if he helps somebody and he goes back to his own ordinary life of making money and, you know, being negative and etc. and living the life of the ego, we must ask ourselves, have we done the right thing over here, right? The second thing is that when a person is suffering, and if he is on the path of yoga, then his path of yoga, his abhyas becomes fortified. It becomes much more powerful. So when we do abhyas, any practice we do when we are suffering, we gain much more from that practice, because that practice gets intensified. Just as Jesus went on the cross and his consciousness got fixed on the cross. It became intensified.
हाँ बोलो ना हाँ क्यों
Somebody is
Sorry, sir. Sorry, sir.
no, it's okay. It's okay.
Somebody just unmuted.
It happens. Now, in astrology, we say that the Karak, the significator of suffering, is the planet Saturn. But in astrology, they have a saying that Saturn brings suffering for only one purpose: to wake a person up from the his mechanicalness, his sleep of life, and that is the only cause to bring suffering in anyone's life. Or there could be suffering for a higher purpose, and that is suffering for consciousness, which is we won't take as a part of this our exposition today, right? So the beginning of freedom from karma is that we sense the pain, feel the pain, hold the pain, don't allow the mind to get disturbed. And if the mind does not get disturbed, we do not go into what is Patanjali calls chitta vikshepa. We do not sow the seeds for the pain to repeat or to come again in the future. Now, something little deeper we can say, because we don't just have a physical body, we have an etheric body, we have a astral body, a mental body, etc. So in the etheric body, everything is in polarization, charges of life. That is the positive charge, the negative charge. We know when we breathe in from the right nostril, there's a positive charge. When we breathe in from the left nostril, there is a negative charge. Now, when something which the rishis say over here is that wrong polarization is pain. So if I'm in a state of suffering, all I have to do is bring back right polarization. And one of the ways of bringing right polarization is doing the alternate breathing exercise. We bring back right polarization in the subtle body, in the etheric body. Right? In life, in our living life, if we are able to move away from the opposites, not to the extremes of the pendulum, right? But move in between. That is, life becomes a balancing act between the two dualities of life. Then automatically our inner subtle body polarizes itself into positive and negative, into right, positive, and negative. It is because of the dualities in life that this polarization happens. And so this is another way, or just another aspect of looking at pain. So pain just tells us that pain tells us we are going to lose equilibrium. And if we lose equilibrium, we go into what is called the state of chitta vikshep, and we bring an antaraya, an interval in our practice of yoga. Now, the next one is Dormanasya. Dormanasyam, Durmanasa Bhavaha. Durmanashay means the nature of Durmanas. In Gujarati, we say ke eno swabhava જ આવો છે. Right? So some people, their nature is such that they are always negative. Their nature is such that they are always complaining. Their nature is such that they are always rude in their relationship, in their behavior. Their nature is such that they always put down the other person. The nature is such that they hurt the other person that when they speak. So it is Durmanasya it becomes a kind of second nature to the person. It is the swabhav, in Gujarati we say swabhav, I don't know what we say in Hindi, but it becomes like second nature to that person. Now, try to understand in the Mahabharata, it's so beautiful that Dhritarashtra has 100 children, and with the daughter 101. And most of them, nearly all of them, most of them their name begins with Du. Du means bad. Duryodhan, Dushasan, Dushala, right? So if you see most of them, their name begins with Du. And this is very indicative. I mean, the sage has put it in such a way. He's telling us the 100 symptoms of a bad mind. He's giving us the, what do you call, the 100 symptoms of a bad mind. So if you take like self-love or, egoism, then you have, what do you call, Duryodhana, right? And if you take chaos in relationships, right? Chaos in your handling with other people, Dushasan. So each of these 100 people there, this thing. So they are definitely, all of us have those 100 living within us. And over a period of self-observation, we slowly become free of what is called a bad mind, durmanaha, dormanasyam, bad mind. So it is a spoilt mind, dushtam manaha, and which always imagines and conceives the wrong things, right? Now, in the text in which it is used, Dormanasyam, in the context in which it is used over here, it would mean more to the effect of manyate, that is spoilt by vanity, spoilt by being too proud, spoilt by abhiman, that is self-love. I think I am something. And this is the basic cause of a spoilt mind, right? So where does this come from? Where does vanity come from? Vanity is formed by the pictures which we create of ourselves. We have so many pictures of ourselves, right? I may have a picture that I am a good speaker, right? But you come and tell me on this same sutra, that fellow came and gave a much better talk than you gave, right? And I feel hurt. Why do I feel hurt? Because this picture of mine, you have ruined this picture of mine. You have thrown something and spoiled this picture of mine. And that picture of mine is me. I am identified with that picture of what a good speaker I am, right? And in everything we have pictures of ourselves. Whether we are parents, then we have what do you call, picture of how good parents we are. If the neighbor says you don't know how to look after your child, then we feel hurt, right? Or as a businessman, we have pictures of ourselves, what a good businessman we are, or as a husband, etc., etc. And all these pictures go to form our ego. And our ego is nothing but one big album of pictures, right? I have all these pictures of what a good boy am I, right? And when these pictures, they form vanity. What is vanity? Vanity is, I am a good parent. I have a picture that I am a good parent, but you must accept that picture. See, I am a good parent is pride. I feel pride in myself being a good parent. But if you come and say I'm a bad parent, then you must accept the picture that I am a good parent. That is vanity. In vanity, there's always an audience, somebody else, right? It is always what others think about me, what others think about me. And this is the context in which we are using this word dormanasyam over here. Thank you. And the beauty is that all spiritual awakening starts from an inner state of I don't know. But whenever you meet a person, he already knows, right? And that is vanity. right? The famous story of where Narad and Vishnu were staying together and Vishnu was very upset. And so Narad says that, why are you so upset? And he says that all these people are meditating and they are all reaching heaven. And I created man for this purpose. And now if they all reach heaven, then all my creation is useless, etc. So Narad said, you forgot to put imagination in man. So if you put imagination, then he will think that he is already enlightened. He won't work to be enlightened. That is vanity. Vanity. Everybody has a basic attitude that I know, and that is vanity. And if you see, many times a person has vanity about their beauty, but person may not be beautiful in a body. The body may not be beautiful as such, but he may have a vanity about how he can make people laugh and how he is very good, how intelligent his satire is, etc. So vanity can take so many forms, and all these forms are with picture. So the context in which because the word mana has so many contexts in Sanskrit, the context used over here, spoilt mind or bad mind, is more related to the state of abhiman, vanity over here, right? Now, pride can feel shame. Vanity cannot feel shame, right? So pride, there is something good in pride. We can use pride for a positive way. If somebody is coming first in class, my pride is hurt. I can work harder to come first in class, right? There is a positive use in this thing, right? But vanity, I will put down that person. Oh, he's a bookworm and he studies all the time. I like to enjoy life, etc., etc. I'll put down that person. That is vanity, right? So in pride, there is a little bit of shame, and that is the beautiful aspect of pride. Say if a son has come first in class, and the parents hold a party and they show off their son to everybody who has come, all the other parents say, oh, my son came first in the class. And if the son is feeling shame, he does not like, his pride is not, does not like him to, that he's being shown off to all these people, then that shame is very precious shame. That is called divine shame, and it is that shame which takes us to God. So in pride, there is the concept of shame. But if the child has only vanity, then he'll show off that, oh, tomorrow I'm going to come better than first in class or something of that sort. Then there's vanity. My, what do you call, the example which I love the most and which I use all the time is that a person has bought a new car, and if he has pride, then he will not like his friends to see him in a new car. Everybody will ask, where did you get the new car and what is the new car? But if there's vanity, instead of looking at the road, he's looking all around the road. Who is looking at me driving in the new car? So this is the difference between pride and vanity. And vanity has to be worked on. So the concept in which the word dormanasyam is used over here, durmana, bad mind, is more towards the what do you call of vanity. Now, a deeper study of the Yoga Sutras, maybe at some time somebody will do it, I don't know, right? Something which interests me a lot, but you know how life is short, and is the phonetics behind the sutras. So Sanskrit is the only language where beyond the roots is the phonetics, the sounds, right? So it has a kind of sound base, then a root base in the verbs. So there are all the verbs were formed out of 16 original sounds. And each of those sounds, when they translated into the verb, they gave the kind of, what do you call, emotion of that sound, the sensitivity of that sound, the feeling of that sound. So when we say the word dormanasyam, there's a kind of heaviness, dormanasyam, as if you're dropping something on the ground, as if you're filled with depression and you're just dropping to the ground, where you see the first chapter of the Gita. In the end, Arjun drops down in the chariot. So when the phonetic saying of the word dormanasyam, it kind of creates an inner, space of heaviness inside, of depression inside, of despair inside. So it brings that kind of dark condition inside, which tells us that we are in a bad inner space, durmanasaha. Of course, the opposite will be sumanasyam, right? So sumanasyam we can translate as cheerfulness. So if we can practice cheerfulness, right? Practice to be happy in every state of life, then we will slowly be free from that state of dormanasyam. Now, what are the symptoms of the symptom? That I am in a bad state of mind, I'm in a negative state of mind. So it can be seen in my frustration. It can be seen in my bad mood. It can be seen in my use of language. And this also in the aggressive way I use language. It can be seen by instability, which we come to the next one, angam ejayatva, in my instability. In my, how I treat others, whether I treat them rudely. Sometimes rudeness is hidden. It's not very apparent. I may not have enough money in the bank, and so I'm very, very, humble with everyone. Next day I win a lottery, overnight I'll become rude with everyone, right? So the rudeness was there within me, but it was not apparent, it was not seen. So that is that inner, the sickness of the mind, dormanasyam, can be even a deeper state, which may not be apparent on the surface. Another thing is that when our mind is full of unfulfilled desires, right? And you see, this whole safe deposit vault of unfulfilled desires. And then there is age as death approaches. And death approaches and these desires are not being fulfilled. And it brings brings a heaviness to the mind. All those unfulfilled desires, those vasanas, what we call, they make the mind heavy. This heaviness of the mind, of unfulfilled desires, we can again say that is a kind of dormanasyam. There is a kind of fear of what will happen in the future. My desires won't be fulfilled. Tomorrow death will come and everything remains unfulfilled. And that's it. So and that spoils the present moment for me. It brings a kind of despair, disgust, despondency, failure in the present moment for me. Here again, like I said, the cells of the mind are subtle, they are elastic, and they have to be regenerated. They have to be exercised every day. The next one is angam ejayatva. Angam, ejayatva means shaking of the body, a trembling body. It could indicate that I'm there's fear inside. There's anxiety for the future. Something I've done in the past is giving me guilt, right? I can't face the present, right? So there is a shaking in the body, angam ejayatva, and the next one, shwas prashvasa, breathe in, breathe out, right, is agitated. So even the breathing is uneven, and it leads to this state of angam ejayatva, shwas prashvasa vikshepaha. These are all the vikshepes. Now, the word anga is a beautiful word. It means to walk, to keep going around, but it also means to put a mark, anka, to put a mark. Like I put a mark over here, anka, right? And ga means to go, gati, gaman, gati, ga means to go, right? So to go and leave a mark. So we go ahead in life and we leave a mark. This is very, beautiful. I'm going to give an example which I've repeated many times, but it will explain what we mean over here. Supposing I have 100 packets of anger lying in my unconscious mind, subconscious mind. Somebody comes to meet me and insults me. So out of those 100 packets of anger, one packet of anger comes in the conscious mind. It hypnotizes me. I get identified. Vritti sarupyam atya itaratra, what we saw, right? I get identified with it. I become angry, so I create one more packet. By becoming angry creates one more packet, right? So I go ahead in life, angam, ga. I go ahead in life, but I leave a mark. What mark do I leave? A new packet of anger. Am I coming across in this? Angam e jayatva. So I leave a new mark, and now when those two packets, the one which came out and that one which I created go back, I now have 101 packets of anger lying in my, right? And this 101 packets of anger, they have a spectrum. They invite the kind of events which come to meet me in my life. They are the seeds of karma, right? Can you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, somebody insults me, one packet comes out. I'm observing that packet. I don't allow chitta vikshepa. So I'm not creating a new packet. And that packet which came outside, with my very observation, it fizzles away. It cannot go back inside, because it can only go back inside if it takes one friend inside, if it creates one more. So now that packet dies, and the energy which is lying in that anger, it is released. That becomes kundalini. It becomes part of the energy which I use for my rising in consciousness, to hold my state of self-remembering. Now there are only 99 packets inside. My future, my destiny changes, because they will now invite a new destiny in life. This is the basis of karma, right? We don't have to go very deep into what is karma. If we understand that every negative emotion creates karma, we've understood what is happening. So I go ahead in life and I leave a mark. If I leave a mark, I'm creating new karma. But if I don't leave a mark, I go ahead in life and I don't leave a mark, then I'm not creating new karma. Not only that, the future which was supposed to meet me will not come. A different future, pain which was yet to come, will not come, right? Heyam dukham aganagatam. So, angam e jayatva, the fact that to go ahead and leave a mark, but if we can go ahead in life without leaving a mark, like the birds fly in the sky, but there are no footprints. But we walk on the soil and there are footprints all the time. Our mind is leaving footprints all the time. So, angam e jayatva. As long as we are going ahead and leaving a mark behind, leaving a residue behind, what we call in algebra, we used to call it as remainder. If there's a remainder left behind, every act, but if we live every moment of life totally, with no remainder in life, then there is no mark. Then we are free of what is called angam e jayatva. Now, if something is left behind, then that becomes the seed for repetition. It creates restlessness in our limbs. We are restless, and it shows in our muscles. There's muscular tension gets together. There's restlessness in our limbs, and this is how it moves. So. So the normal meaning will be angam e jayatva, to tremble, to shake. But in the sense of leaving a mark. So Angam e Jayatva. Now here the root e Jayatva comes from the root aja. That which instigates you to tremble. That which instigates you to tremble. So we have the word ajgara. Gar means to swallow. That which instigates you to swallow. Right? So the python is swallowing all the time. So that which, so the aja is that insult which is sent to me. It instigates me to tremble, that is to a jayatva, leave a mark. And I'd of course move ahead in life, but keep on leaving a mark. And those marks become seeds for repetition. And I keep on repeating the same life again and again. Right? And the more marks I collect inside my subconscious, my unconscious mind, the more patterns, the more sanskar, the more negativity, the more I will always be restless, always my limbs will be twitching, and I'll always be in a state of negative energy. Right? So the idea here is how he's again here saying that the chitta vikshepa, the chitta vikshepa over here, the distraction in the mind is caused by the restlessness in the limbs, the direct translation, angam ejayatva. So supposing we sit down in the day 2 times, 3 times, 4 times for 2 minutes, 3, and relax all the muscles in the body, move through the body like we are doing yoga nidra, and we relax all the muscles, then this angam ejayatva, the symptom will not be allowed to be expressed. There will be no negative buildup of energy in the body, in the muscles, which can blast into some negative emotion. And if there's no buildup of negative energy, we will then move to where the mark was, and how can we be free of the sanskar, the mark which we are holding inside. Our self-observation will go that deep to that. So here he's giving us a hint that this trembling of the body is just a kind of, what do you call, it is just a symptom of something deep inside. You have to reach to that deep inside through your self-observation, through our self-observation. So, you know, many people, I mean, when they are anxious about the future and they have fear about the future, and they're in this state of restlessness, and they say the Hanuman Chalisa. So in the Hanuman Chalisa, we have a line, we say, Jai Kapis Tuha Loka Ujaga, right? Kapis means the one who has controlled the trembling. Kapis, Kampan. The one who trembles, no longer. Victory, Jai Kapis. The one who has victory over trembling, right? So that is the state. The Hanuman Chalisa should take that state, but we say it in a state of trembling. So it gives us more trembling. That the bhoot pret should not come in our house and all that, right? The ghost shouldn't come in our house, right? So, I mean, there's a wrong interpretation. Bhoot means to live in the past, and pret means to live in the future. To live in the present moment means you're free of bhoot pret, but that is something different, right? So, and in normal life, if we are unsteady, if we lack steadiness, then there is no normal confidence in normal living also. So we have to think about that. Now the last one, Shwas Prashwasa. Shwas Prashwasa. Shwas, Shwasti Anen. Through breathing, to breathe. Shwas, Shwas, to breathe. That which causes us to breathe, to draw breath. Prashwas also is breath, but exhalation. So Swas, Prashwas, breathing in and breathing out. And Prashwas can also mean a higher type of exhalation, a higher type of breathing. So normally it would mean that our breathing is disturbed. Now, when we look at the English word, spirit, spirit means we would translate it as Atma, the spirit. And we look at that word. So it comes from the Latin word spiritus. And the word spiritus in Latin means breath. Now, here we must go into the what do you call definition of the word shwasa, breathe. Shwasti anen, jena vade shwas levaય છે, that which causes us to breathe. So here again, it is the inner Atma which causes us to breathe, right? So the child comes out of the womb and then the doctor hits the child, taps the child, so the child starts breathing. But Tavariaji Sahib says the Atma comes in and then it starts breathing, right? So that which causes it to breathe, shwas. And this breathing is now disturbed, the electromagnetic field of the spirit, because the spirit is electricity, the electromagnetic field of the spirit is disturbed, right? And that disturbance, it brings about chaotic breathing. If we read Tavariaji Sahib's literature, he has mentioned many different kinds of chaotic breathing, too long, too short, what you call too moist, too dry, etc., right? So he has mentioned all the different kinds of chaotic breathing. But we can come to one, what do you call, remedy, and that is the 3-step rhythmic breathing, which must be practiced. It must become the foundation of our spiritual, what do you call, journey, that we are standing on the very strong foundation of 3-step rhythmic breathing. So if we can bring rhythm and balance in breathing, it will yeah, we can mention tell him to come on WhatsApp. We'll mention the remedy on WhatsApp. Right. Many times the muscles and the way we breathe, it tells the story of our life. How much of tension, how much of sanskar, how much of blockages we are holding in our muscles, and what effect does it have on our breathing. So if we breathe in rhythm, slowly the muscles will relax, we'll be free of angam me jayatva, shwas prashwasa vikshep will go away. And when there is no trembling in the body, we will slowly come to sumanasya from durmanasya, right? And then we will come from, there cannot be a life without pain, but there can be a life, I can refuse to suffer the pain, and I can reach a state where I feel the pain, but I don't suffer the pain, right? I remain in the present moment. And we can take this sutra from the end, that is, through the rhythmic breathing, we go backwards and we can reach step by step to each of these steps just through the practice of 3-step rhythmic breathing. So it will work on our emotions, it will work on our muscular tensions, all these symptoms of chitta vikshepta. The final word, chitta vikshepaha sahabhuva. So we say vikshep is distraction, shift to throw. It throws away our attention, our mind, our consciousness from the path of yoga. Now, here he has used the word bhuvaha, saha bhuvaha. He has created a compound of 2 words, saha and bhuvaha, and he has put the word bhuva in plural. And bhuvaha is a, what do you call, feminine plural. But because he has made a compound with saha, it becomes masculine. And he's saying all these, right from vyadhi, sthana, all the 9, all these all of them are states of chitta vikshep, lead to a state of chitta vikshep. These are the what do you call conditions of chitta vikshep. Okay, so he has brought that plural over there to say I'm including all these as sahabhuva. These are accompaniments to those 9. So if those 9 are present, one, more, or all, they have to be accompanied by these 4. Which are these 4? Dukkha, Dormanasya, Angame Jayatva, and Swas Prashwasva Vikshepaha. All these are the Vikshepahas. And if we can move, in the next sutra is going to tell us that how we can soar above, how we can get rid of all these obstacles and their accompaniments and move above this state of Vikshepa and move ahead, right? So these are all accompaniments or to the, what do you call, disruptions or intervals in our path of yoga, in our path towards Ishwar Pranidhana, and we work upon these intervals. We observe, we start observing, we observe the breath, we observe the muscular tension, we observe the inner trembling, we observe our state of mind, and from that we cannot be free of pain, but we can be free of suffering, and we come to that state where we are free of suffering. And this is the basic tenet of all yoga, to take us to a state where we are free of suffering. Of course, we can never be free of pain. If you're an obstinate person who is dead can be free of pain. We cannot be free of pain, but we can bring the mind to such an equilibrium, such a balance that pain is there. We refuse to suffer that pain, and we hold the mind in balance all the time. So we'll stop over here. We'll take questions, which if anybody has any questions. Yeah.
Hello, sir. Good evening. This is Arvind.
Good evening. Good evening.
Sir, oh, sorry.
Sir, can you switch on your video, please?
Yes, yes.
Your name is?
Arvinder, sir.
Arvinder, yeah. Oh, Arvinder. Yes. Arvinder. Oh, good to see you.
Yes.
Tell me.
Sir, I wanted to ask that if somebody is suffering and we can help him or her without the judgment whether it will take him to a better consciousness or not, won't it elevate our own consciousness?
See, in Zen, there's a saying, do good and throw it in the well.
Right.
So if after helping somebody, if there's a feeling of what a good boy am I?
No, of course.
Then it is self-love.
Then of course it's self-love.
Then it is self. But you're allowed to eat one chocolate. You can say it once, what a good boy am I? I mean, we are not dead people. So, I mean, we'll enjoy, maybe somebody has, we've helped and that person says, thank you, we'll eat one chocolate. But we'll get diabetes if we eat the second chocolate.
Right. Thank you so much.
But just remember, try to see if this pain will bring a transformation in his life.
But won't that...
Yes,
Sorry.
so it is difficult. It is difficult. But if the pain if you allow him to suffer. And this is the thing with between guru and disciple. And the disciple sometimes throws a lot of pain onto the, so the guru throws a lot of pain on the path of the disciple. And his only thing is that to bring a disciple to a state where he can digest the pain and rise above the pain, right? And sometimes the pain is also too much for the disciple to take. But he knows exactly that he wants to bring the disciple to that point where, he can't take the pain anymore. So, but whenever we are helping anybody, because pain has come for a purpose. And if pain brings somebody onto the path of yoga and we help that person and he goes back into his mechanical life, we have to question whether that helping was real helping or not.
But in that case, won't we become judgmental?
We are not judgmental. We are using our discriminating capacity. We are discriminating. We are trying to bring something higher into a person's life. And if a little bit of pain allows for something higher, sometimes it is more than worth it.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Please start your video. Yeah, thank you.
That was, that gave great clarity, so much of clarity for myself, I can say. I had a small doubt. Yeah. When we talked about Darwinism, basically it is whether the focus is on ourselves or outside, within or without. That is what is actually making the difference in Darwinism. The focus should be, we should be in ourselves. When it's outside, it becomes abhimana. I mean, becomes vanity. And if it is within, it is pride. And one more thing
Yeah, so
is
there's
that
right pride and there's wrong pride.
yes.
So if pride takes us within ourselves and helps us to be free of the ego, then it is right use of pride. But if pride leads to vanity, then it is wrong use of pride. You know, in the Mahabharata, there are there's this story of what do you call Hidim and Hidimba, right? And what do you call Bhim kills Hidim, right? Now, if you go into the root of the word, that which flies in the sky, that which flies in the imagination, which flies in the sky. So my imaginary I, what a great person I am, my vanity. Can you get it? So he killed vanity and he married pride. Can you see? He killed vanity and he married pride. So pride has to be transformed into a friend. You see? But I have pride in my waking up at 5 in the morning. Then it will get rid of my laziness. Can you understand? Right? But I don't have pride in vanity in getting up at 5 in the morning. I want to tell everybody that I wake up at 5 in the morning. Right? Then it is vanity. You understand? Then it's not,
Yes.
I may not have even got up at 5 in the morning, but I can still tell everybody I got up at 5 in the morning. Right? So
We often do that. Yes.
Can you see? So pride is something which we, right use of pride can get rid of laziness. It helps us to rise above laziness. I pride in my getting up at 5 in the morning, then it helps me to wake up at 5 in the morning.
One more doubt, sir.
Hmm.
May I? Bodhakash, Chittakash, and Chidakash. Sir, would you be able to say something deep on that, sir?
So where my sensations come in, hot, cold, right, rough, smooth, right, my instinctive center, that is Bhutakash. They are coming from the 5 elements, right? But I'm reacting to them, like, dislike, happy, unhappy, depression, good mind, etc., etc. That is in Chittakash. But in the end, everything is a play of the 3 forces. Can you understand? Right? If my mind has taken the shape of pain, it is Rajas which has caused the mind to take the shape of the pain. So the shape of pain is in Chittakash, but Rajas is active in Chidakash. So life is happening simultaneously on 4 screens. One is the outside screen, outside the senses. One is the inner screen of sensations. One is the deeper screen of my emotions and my reactions. And one is the deepest screen of the 3 forces. Beyond the 3 forces is just the seer and nothing else. The Atma, enjoying the play of the dance of Shiva and the 3 forces. Right? So it is happening on these screens. So as we rise,
Beautiful,
we rise and we are able to observe each screen one by one. But it can only be done if we don't get attached to any screen. If we get stuck with any screen, then we can't go beyond. So if my sensations are good or bad and like and dislike, then I'm stuck on the lowest screen. But sensations are sensations. Some sensations are comfortable, some sensations are uncomfortable. Then I move to what are my reactions to these sensations. Now I start observing beyond my reactions. Can you get it?
absolutely, sir. So much to do, Manana.
You know, how does the first chapter of the Gita start? You know, Arjun tells Krishna, take my chariot in between the two armies, so I can see. Sena yoho ubhayoho madhye. Ratham sthapya achyuta. Hey Achyut, please take my chariot between the two armies. Yavat etan nirikshayaham, so I can see. And then in that seeing, he gets identified. That is different, right? Instead of seeing, he gets identified. But he's saying, okay, Yavat etan nirikshayaham, yodha kaman avastitan. Those who have come here with the, what you call, desire to fight. Let me see those who have come here with the desire to fight. So everything in the end is just seeing. Seeing the Bhutakash, seeing the Chittakash, seeing the Chidakash. Only the seer remains, and that's the end of the journey. Huh? Right? All the best.
Yeah, good evening, Rajan sir.
Good evening.
Sir, can you please throw some more light on the chaotic breathing, like as is mentioned by Tavariaji about like too long, moist, dry. So what does these exactly mean and how do we work on these? Like 3SRB is one thing, of course, but why is...
We'll have to take a separate talk about that. It would be very difficult to explain, but you know, supposing, just we'll take a small examples, right? Supposing just now, I'm deeply angry, hot angry. Then my breath is going to be what do you call hot and moist.
Dry, moist, okay.
But yeah, right. But I'm angry, but I'm not showing my anger. I'm going to take revenge upon you at the right time, right? That cunningness is there. I'm looking for the exact moment to throw the arrow at you.
Mm-hmm.
Then it will not be moist, it will be hot, but it will be dry.
Okay.
Can you get what I'm trying to say? So this is a totally different dimension we are going into. So, but the breath reflects what is inside. And if we can bring rhythm into the breath, then this changes.
Right.
That was his basic premise, that you practice the 3-step rhythmic breathing.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, may I ask one more question, sir?
Yeah, please. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, you said about Akash, that we excavate in from the deeper meaning of dukkha, cannot be excavated, and we talked
Nature
about
excavates.
and
So there is
space.
something deep down wrong with me. Nature excavates it and brings it on the surface, and I feel pain.
Where is this Akash then? Is it deep inside, sir? Can we discuss the Akash part?
Then I think you what I said was that I said the word dukkha comes from the root khan, to excavate. But there are some scholars who have also taken the word dukkha, kha as akash and du as bad akash. So you're mixing the two meanings. I gave two separate meanings of the word dukkha. You're mixing the two meanings. In the first is something which is spoiled, du, which is spoiled, khan, it has been excavated, it has come back onto the surface, and that is why I feel pain. I feel pain. And the second meaning was do bad akash. So we took two different meanings of the word dukkha.
So we
Dushtam
basically
khanoti.
take the
Correct.
first meaning, sir.
The first meaning is the deeper meaning, but many scholars, even my father-in-law, Swami Brahmedanji, used to take as du akash, du kha, kha as akash and bad akash. So I had to mention that. Right. No more questions? No more questions. So this Manas Upadhyay, please contact Ketav on WhatsApp, and I'll also send you Tavariaji's notes on Swarnadi. I'll send you his notes on Swarnadi. I hope you got the message.
So I'd like to be on the WhatsApp, sir, please.
Yeah, Ketav will contact all of you and put you. Ketav will contact everyone.
Thank you,
So
sir.
Hemaji, should we? Yeah. Close. Right. We meet next week with God's grace.
Ji sir, definitely.
Ketav has put his number. Please send your WhatsApp your number to Ketav.
Yeah, please take down
one
Ketav's
small
number.
request, sir.
Ji.
Yeah,
Can we have a WhatsApp group where we can post questions? Because I suppose it is not possible to ask all the questions here.
We can
It
do
will
that.
be like
Yes, we can do that.
monopolizing your time. You know? So
We can do that. That I'll have to ask Ketav to do it. Yeah. He'll figure it out. Yeah, he'll figure it out.
May we have the number again, please, sir?
You have to give the number again.
977 36
36
82823.
977 36 82823.
Yes, it's on chat.
Thank you.
Close.
Ji
Shall
sir.
we?
Ji sir.
I'll just say one slok and we close.
Yes,
Yeah?
sir.
Right. Om Sehna Bhavatu Sehno Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahi Tejasvina Vadityamatsu Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shantihi Shantihi Shanti.